He is a globally important humanitarian. He believes in all humanity. There's no other in his world. They are all a family. All humans are precious to him. And to touch any one of them in his book is sacrilegious. To maltreat anyone, regardless of race, faith, where they are, who they are, what they look like.
This is Alistair Sparks, former editor of the Old Rand Daily Mail and correspondent for major publications such as The Washington Post and The Economist. Sparks has written what he calls the biographical spine of Tutu, the authorized portrait.
Wow. I think I'd call him a ball of energy. Bob Geldof calls him the smallest giant he knows. Just a force of nature.
And this is Tutu, an Episcopal priest and founder of the Tutu Institute for Prayer and Pilgrimage. She's conducted over 40 interviews with her father's family, friends, colleagues and critics for the biography.
It really is a fine record of his life, of the people he knew, the people he touched in his life. And I'm very, very proud to have been part of it. The last I saw of what I'd done was just banged out on a computer and away it went. And this thing comes back like magic.
The publishers are so meticulous. And after the 973rd time that I had proofread the same thing and looked at the layout and should this picture go here? No, it should be slightly to the left. I almost had stopped believing there was ever going to be a finished product. But I am so proud. It's such a beautiful book.
One of Alistair Sparks's main challenges was to find something new to say about the widely publicized Desmond Tutu.
I was fascinated by the fact that he described the Dalai Lama as the holiest man he knew. Well, now the Dalai Lama is a Buddhist, and this is a Christian. And when I began questioning him about this, came up with some startling things like, well, of course, God is not a Christian, which, coming from a prince of the church, makes you sit up and take notice. But he says, Christianity is relatively new on the block. This man believes that all faiths are valid. What faith you belong to is an accident of birth and geography. I came up with, I think, a not very adequate description of him as an all-faith ecumenicist. And this is what I think now lends him global importance.
On the other hand, Tutu says her knowledge and understanding of her father has been widely reinforced.
What seemed to me to get underlined in the conversations was an incredibly prayerful person. Someone who loves and is devoted to my mother and really needs her. And then this sense of him being, I think it's a mindfulness. He notices the people who tend not to get noticed. Quote-unquote non-entities who are there in the middle of this crowd of luminaries.
Tutu and Alistair Sparks both say there's little difference between Desmond Tutu in public and in private.
On the whole, what you see is what you get. The public face is bubbly, extrovert, and requires silence. The space of his greatest privacy is in his quiet and prayer.
He acts on inspiration. He's given to many moods. He can be laughing one minute and weeping the next. He's a very kaleidoscopic, a very quicksilver personality. He can be angry. He lost his temper with P.W. Botha at one point and started wagging his finger in his face. I think Botha was a bit taken aback. What you see is what you get.
Tutu says Tutu, the authorized portrait, is a mosaic of her father. The chipped tiles reflect small encounters, interactions and perspectives, including those of at least 5 fellow Nobel Peace laureates. Nelson Mandela says he never disagreed with Desmond Tutu in public. Barack Obama calls Tutu the cancer of our conscience. The Dalai Lama says Tutu's sharp and piercing eyes reflect his realistic assessment and astute judgment, whatever the situation. And Aung San Suu Kyi says she may be Desmond Tutu's pin-up girl, but he's her hero. I'm Angie Kaplianis in Cape Town.